start. It's not like they don't know, but it's just a mindset thing. And when Agile talks about mindset, why not focus on one particular aspect of manifesto and give more emphasis in India compared to others, which is about just in time over planning early. So with that note, I would like to invite our panel members to please come on stage and we'll start discussing about it. The idea is to wash some dirty linens and come up with some real story and then see whether the spin is towards Agile or away from Agile. Let's see what our expert panel members have to say. I'd like to invite Tathagat Varma. He is Vice President, Strategic Process Innovations, 24/7 Innovation Labs. Mr. Manish Mishra, Senior Solutions Architect at Mahindra. And Mr. Stanley, he is Head of Technology at Huawei Technology. Okay, so while the mic is coming up, what we'll do is that we'll take a quick take on just the comment that I made on what they feel is the status of Agile in India based on their experience. So maybe if you can just introduce, if I have not introduced yourself enough, we can start with Tathagat. You can start introduce and you feel about how Agile has been, has grown.
Morning everyone, my name is Tathagat. I work with 24/7. I remember actually long back, that will tell my age unfortunately, but when I was doing my masters in computer science back in 89-90, I did from India, which was one of the earliest courses in computer science. It was Roger Pressman and Fairley written all over. How many of you went through Roger Pressman and Fairley? I still see many hands going up, and I still continue to be amazed that we still continue to teach waterfall-based software engineering in our curriculum, which was 25 years back being taught and still we are teaching. I think it is totally irrelevant. In the industry, I've been lucky that I've been able to jump on a bandwagon from waterfall to a more liberal style of thinking, I would say. I don't want to call it agile, but it's a more liberal, it's a more common sensical way of doing it. Some of us are still struggling to stay in the past. I think we are dinosaurs in that. We will be eaten up one day. The pragmatism isn't really moving to the more commonsensical way of doing things there. As we go along, I'll probably share some more on that.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Manish Mishra from Tech Mahindra. So, what I understand from Agile is it's more of a common sense, and slowly people have started adopting Agile methodologies, getting away from waterfall models. And my experience says that whatever I've experienced in Agile, in panel we have big experts on Agile, we are still not implementing Agile in a way where we want to do that, but we are just not able to solve the bottom root problems. Where if I just raise one point of collaboration, I have with my experience I have seen it that Scrum Master and Product Owner, they were not part of Scrum meetings. So like that, we have a long way to go to really accept the way Agile works, and this is a good start here. And slowly, in true sense, when we understand Agile, we are going to really appreciate that.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Raj. I'm representing Huawei India and Head of Technology Cooperation and Knowledge Management. Okay, so from the question, what he asked, how is Agile in India? I don't know about the IT aspect, but because I came from the captive activity on ICT. From the ICT perspective, it's not as same when we apply the Agile in these aspects. And to to the IT aspect. So there are a lot of complications, and industries or organizations like Huawei, Cisco, and we are all trying to develop reaching this agile in terms of, when I say agile, means fast and predictable delivery. That particular aspect we are still working on it. And there are some other aspects which are coming up, startups, all those things. They are quickly observing this, some of the flavors of agile, some of the flavors of lean, and they are also contributing towards this community of agile. That is the second. And third, Mr. Tathagat also slightly touched upon how about our universities, our education system, how they are adapting towards teaching and sharing about those practices or engineering principles of agile or the advances of agile. That is a third aspect I want to see in India growing up. Other aspects like there are especially in the product engineering, we say the product line engineering or lean architecture. These all aspects have been started much early. But those things, have not been converged. But now this time is coming up in India also, where Agile is getting DevOps, CD. So this maturity is coming up. Along with this, the existing aspects of lean startup, lean architecture, product line engineering, all these things are, coming up and then making us a kind of a complete solution for organizations like Huawei or other ICT organizations. So this is my perspective.
Good morning. My name is Srinivas. I'm a consultant helping companies transition to Scrum and help them with testable development as well. I was lucky to actually be in one of these projects very early on in 2001, doing many of the practices that companies even today are struggling with. That is just pure luck. And if I look, in my mind, I just separate this whole environment or this whole landscape into two parts. The technical part and let's say the approach or the managerial or the managerial style part. And I'm even now amused by how companies are struggling to do anything meaningful with this even so many years later. So just for information, Scrum is something that came out and was presented to the larger world in 1995. And in 2014, people sometimes come to my class and they think that they are learning something new. I tell them, no, you're learning something 20 years old. So we are a long way behind the times. If I give an example of continuous integration, again, I go to companies and many of them say, yeah, we do continuous integration, but you look into the details and it is done very poorly. So from my perspective, I think there is a lot of take-up. A lot of companies have taken up many of these practices, but very poorly. So they do them very badly. That's my view.
Thanks, Srinivas. I'll be opening the floor for the floor panel for the audience as well. Be ready with your questions. You can just raise your hand and mic will be given to you. But before I go to the audience, what is one thing which you feel? So the other people mentioned that is the educational system. When we were actually studying, I did my engineering. One of the best agile projects that I was involved was in actually college, when we, I was in electronics and communication, the whole group organized an excursion. And there was a class test which was chosen. I consider now that he was a Scrum Master, with exactly the same kind of control or the roles that Scrum Master is. That's what the class coordinator, he was not a teacher. And then everyone collectively decided where we have to go, what is our budget, and we enjoyed a lot. So we are born with that kind of environment. In the functions that we do, we follow agile process. At home we are very agile. Do you think companies also play a role when they are inducted kind of culture? Do they get a culture shock?
What I've seen is that when I work, my career has been only with product companies. I think once we become successful, we become victim of our own success. Take the example of Sony, for example. Mike. Yeah, I was just saying that we become victims of our own success. The sweet success which actually brought us to that point, becomes the impediment by itself. And we stop innovating, we stop taking meaningful risks. I'll give you an example. Everyone in 80s and early 90s would have known the Sony was the benchmark of Trinitron technology was their television thing, right? They were the world leaders in color TV technology. And if you see what happened after that, they were so successful, Trinitron, that they did not innovate and they completely missed the LCD and the plasma TV bus. So the whole flat TV bus was missed by Sony. And later on they were able to catch up again with the Bravia series, but they lost in between the market for quite some time actually. The same way if you see BlackBerry, which actually had every reason to be leading the smartphone revolution, they lost their marbles somewhere. So the point I'm trying to make is a lot of companies which actually become successful because they start with a meaningful risk hypothesis. The moment they become successful, they stop there because professional managers like you and I are paid to maintain the status quo. A lot of us are not paid to disrupt things. A lot of us would actually be fired from our jobs if we screwed up something there. I personally think that is the biggest enemy. The enemy is within us. The mindset which stops us to innovate, the mindset which stops us to take risks, the mindset which says don't experiment, it is bad for you because the unpredictability is a bad thing for business. So I personally think the startups are a master of that because that's the only way they can survive. The whole idea of when Eric Ries talks about pivoting, I mean, what is pivoting? It is all common sense basically. You see where there is a danger, you stay away from there and move to somewhere else. You don't need a management consultant or a rocket scientist to come and tell you. It's all commonsensical thing, right? But unfortunately, common sense, if somebody were to tell it to you on the street, you would ignore them. But someone were to tell them that he's a PhD from Harvard and he's telling you the common sense, we would accept it. So I'm ranting here, but I think my point is that when you have a very short runway ahead of you, you tend to be much more nimble, you tend to take much more risk, you tend to be much more sensible about how you're going to do. When you are sitting on your laurels, you actually tend to ignore those basics that got you there in the first place and you start playing it very safe. If you see, I'll just speak one more thing. Take the top innovations that you have seen in the last few years and the biggest of the companies in the world. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that none of the innovation is happening in-house today. Every company is buying innovation from the market, whether it is a $19 billion WhatsApp innovation or whether it's a Instagram acquisition. Even the best of and the youngest of the companies are becoming a one-trick pony. I remember when, I think it was in '97 when Microsoft bought Hotmail, the whole Hotmail founders were known only as a one-trick pony because they could not replicate the success after that. What I'm seeing is even in 2014, the things have not changed. We are all one-trick ponies. Facebook could not do anything beyond the Facebook and they had to keep buying stuff because they were not able to replicate the same model there. So I think there is a fundamental issue about growing up in size which actually makes you risk averse, and that is the bigger thing. Throw away Agile books, throw away Scrum books, that is meaningless. The fundamental part of the thinking part of that which I think we have to embrace wholeheartedly.
Where do I start disagreeing with you?
Okay.
No, seriously. So it's interesting. You talked about these companies which are one-trick ponies. Would Google be an exception to this?
So just to give a perspective, I think Google is a great example of somebody who is not shy to experiment. If you see, they have done tons of experiments with Google Buzz, with Google Map, with Google Waves, a lot of things, and they took a time. Actually, one of my presentations I did there, one of the study I did, it took them on an average of 6 years to pull the product out of the market. So the non-performing products, before Larry Page became CEO in 2011, some of the projects were running for 11 years. So those products were in ICU for 11 years, and they did not have the courage to shut them down. So to your question, I think Google is a better example which has done a lot of experimentation, but they've been too slow in killing the dead products.
So it's still better than the rest.
Yeah.
So the other thing is also about management. You made a comment about management saying that managers are there to preserve the status quo, and this is exactly opposite to really good advice from serious management gurus. And here I make a distinction between business gurus and management gurus. Business gurus, I mean, the so-called management gurus that we talk about who writes books from Harvard Business Press and so on, most of them are actually business gurus. They write about how to do, how to maybe get market share or so many other things maybe. But management gurus are very few, and they actually, there is a line that they put forward saying that managers are not there to make the inevitable happen. So what most of us understand as managers are actually not managers, and this is something I see a lot in the IT industry, particularly in India, where we have managers who are, in my view, just glorified clerks. So they update spreadsheets and they go to meetings, and that's about what they do. So that's.
Let me share an incident. We had a director of Cognizant. He presented a paper in Chennai. Hope I'm audible. Yes, so he presented a paper in Chennai. He is heading the internal technology division within Cognizant Technology Services, CTS. And he presented of how they are actually releasing 800 products in a day for their employees. 800 products in a day, which is at par with some of the best names who we assume are in innovation. And then I asked him that why don't you publish it? Facebook and other events of the world, they are at the same level, and they are known to have a process which is immaculate, and where they have mastered this art, they have agile and everything. And what he said was, this is all internal, but the process that they have now within the team, it has reduced the defect and the kind of the way this is about 300 software testers working internally and 800 releases per day. So, do we have such innovation stories in India? I'm sure if Cognizant are doing, there are other companies. What about their story? Do you think we are not good in storytelling? We don't know, because some of you said that we are managers, if I play a devil's advocate, considering the constraints we have, I think we are doing a very good role. We have adapted to Agile, we have embraced it. We are struggling with it, but we are living with it.
I would agree with the sample salt what he said. Because what I've seen is, and okay, you release 800 and who's going to consume this?
The employees of technology services. It's about, and believe me, they have services like when you get during a performance appraisal, when they are said that your new salary, you can see it now. They get 10,000 concurrent hits, which is at par with some of the best like Amazon. I'm not talking about on a day, 10,000 concurrent hits, and they have a scalable model, which they have done this. Yes.
But he was talking about product releases.
Product release.
So at what point did you start this billion? Suppose he said
I don't have that case study, but the idea was that there are innovations that are happening within the services industry in India as well.
Sure. I'm not going to but I just don't believe these numbers. I think somewhere either it is redefined the term release, because we are great at doing it. We have redefined everything. We have redefined Scrum, we have redefined continuous integration. The people say we do continuous integration, and I say that you have to do the cycle at least minimum 4 times a day, and minimum 4 times a day is a 10-year-old standard. And then they say, no, we can't do that. So I think you might have basically redefined it. But it doesn't mean innovation not happening, and I don't think services companies should not, I think they can do, and probably they are doing. We just don't know as well. And are we not so good at storytelling? I think so. The only company that probably is good at storytelling is Infosys. Everything they do gets a lot of press. Right?
So I'll just take a moment to talk about actually, it's a commercial plug-in time. I'll just talk about my company. The company I work for actually started as a BPO. So you can imagine that in the social pecking order of companies, it actually is pretty down below, because in all honesty, we don't really have a lot of respect for the people who are call center agents, but that's how our company makes money. Now, we started as a call center 12, 13 years back. It doesn't hurt to know that we were funded by Ram Shriram of Google and Sequoia back in 2000, right? Because we had a very strong idea there. And today what we do is we actually we have built a 500 people products organization where we work on machine learning, big data, predictive analytics to actually design solutions for the call center industry. And we are one of the very few companies in the world which actually can say that we acquired something out of Microsoft. We actually acquired a company from Microsoft in the speech technology that we do that. This is a company I'm talking about, born in Bangalore, completely Indian DNA. The founders, the co-founders are purely Indian there. And when I see that a call center company can do that, I'm always wondering why those $7 billion IT companies from India are not doing that. What is stopping them to put 0.00001% of their revenues in actually taking some meaningful risk and building the products from India and creating some intellectual property from India there? So that I haven't got a good answer to that, except the fact that the quarterly, so I work with Raj and Huawei, and we go a long way. And I remember the founder of Huawei, Ranjan Fay, was here once, and he was telling that the US companies have a problem with the quarterly roadmap, forecast at the Wall Street. And when you give the forecast, then your complete focus is really all about making sure that your revenues are in that ballpark, otherwise your share value will come down. And that's the first time I heard it being put in that many words. And I can still relate to that because their entire focus is on predictability. The market will punish you if you really go wrong there. And innovation, as we all know, is all about making meaningful risks there. So unless we do that, I don't believe we will break this vicious cycle there. But maybe Raj has some new data points there.
I will just share upon the things which they have not touched on here. Combine your second and third questions